So there was a really heartbreaking story that we saw on social media that needed for us to talk about, because we've heard a lot about these situations where victims of rape accuse loved ones of not speaking up or defending them or covering up. And this is an opportunity again to help parents, family, loved ones who may know of these kinds of situations within their homes, to help them on how to seek help, not just for themselves, but also the victim of the rape. The story I'm referencing was on social media over yesterday, and it was about a young lady who was complaining that her 32-year-old brother has been raping her, and her mother was aware of it and covered it up. That's the story in a nutshell. So we talk about rape all the time. We talked about the fact that we have very few places to go in times like this. In Lagos, we have the Marble Center. The police, or most of the stations, have the kits, the rape kits, to support people. So we have those in place, at least within this state. I'm not very sure about other states. But our focus now is on family. When family finds out that a loved one, like a cousin, a sister's brother, a sister's sister, somebody is doing something to a minor, what do? Well, we usually incline to protect the family by trying to resolve it within our homes, which is what we've all grown up to know. But there's new knowledge out there. What do you suggest? How do we help people in this situation to help their loved ones? That's our conversation today. We can call us on 081-270-53687, 091-390-76948. You can also tweet us at TVC Connect. Please hashtag your view TVC so we can read your tweets. Bisi, let me start with you, because it's not the first time we're hearing this kind of story where my mother covered up, my mother, we've had callers calling on the show and tell us that their mother knew that their fathers were raping them, or an uncle, and they covered it up. And they tried to console her, tried to persuade her not to say anything, move on, abort the child, and move on. We need things to change. And how do we start this conversation within homes?
You know, I can never understand in the first place why a wife would cover up for a husband when the husband is raping the daughter. You know, that's more of the stories we hear. And because of the fact that most women have known or have believed that all their lives, because of what society has put there, that marriage is the end goal of every woman. So if you're not married, there's no amount of success you have that will be enough. And so they hide, and just because they don't want to lose the marriage, they don't want the man to go, they don't want to get divorced, they can cover up and, you know, find a way to manage the situation. But when a brother is now doing it to a sister, you gave birth, except, of course, maybe if we dig deep into the story, he may be a step or half brother. But I just want to assume that she gave birth to both of them. And you see this form of incest going on, and you're covering it up. The whole family needs to go and see a therapist, because this is not, it's not normal. Incest is something that is taboo. Culture from culture, you see that any family that we hear that has committed incest, this, a family that everybody will wash their hands off. Back in the days, you would either be thrown into the evil forest or something. It's a grievous sin to commit incest. And then that incest is going under your roof, coupled with assault and beating. I saw the video and I saw the body of the lady. And you, the mother, who is supposed to be the matriarch of the family, you cover this up. That tells me that something is wrong with the son and the mother in that house. They need a form of mental evaluation. And also, society needs to do better when we bring up this sort of cases. The next thing you hear is, why is she wearing bomb shorts in the house? Why is she dressing, wearing singlets? Why is she doing this? Why is she dancing in a seductive way? Don't you know that this is good? We need to do better so that people who are under this sort of thing can come out without fear and just say it out into, say it to the public for help. I want that girl right now, wherever she is, she should be found and taken somewhere else, so that she's away from that toxic environment. Those people are not well.
Okay, let me come to Nima. And the reason why I want to come to you, because there's this video that the audio that Princess Damila shared when a doctor was recently accused of molesting a minor. And she played an audio of the mother, allegedly that the mother was saying that as in there's nothing new under the sun. What has been done that I've not heard before.
Wow.
And these are things that we, you know, and that is not just referencing her, but lots of mothers have that. Listen, there's nothing that can happen that we cannot fix. How do we divorce culture from this? How do we divorce way of life? I don't want to call it culture, actually.
Not culture,
how do we divorce this way of this is how we've been doing it for many, many years from what we are going through right now?
So that's not how we've been doing it for many years. But you see, there's still some peculiar family cultures where the mother thinks of what she considers the greater good and thinks, let me just cover up. That's how you see mothers cover up for husbands. That's how you see mothers cover up for their sons, like this one. The worst I have seen is the case of a woman who had a son from her previous marriage, luckily married into another husband and had 2 daughters. They were between 4 and 6, and the boy continued to molest
Her
them.
son.
At every crèche that child was taken to, the girls were taken, it's from the crèche they will call her that these girls not looking okay.
Who would that kind of
Somebody is
mother do,
molesting
Nima?
them.
Let us put ourselves in
She
that.
did nothing. She did nothing. You know, she said she was helpless. Where would she take that boy? Nowhere to keep him. Should she kill him? And you know,
God.
at that point, when I heard that story, I remember saying to my neighbor who was sharing the story with me that, if she had to leave that boy for the state, for a kind of rehabilitation and reform, why can't she go and report? Because he himself was he was 15 at the time when he was abusing his younger sisters. So why can't she just, report to the state and have someone else take that boy away? Because anywhere that boy goes, that habit follows him. He will rape or, abuse another child, molest another child. And, she now thinks, let me just hide it and watch 2 young, helpless girls, toddlers, be, molested under her watch.
But we have a structure, a system in this country to support that kind of woman where my son is 15-year-old. Which system can absorb that kind of child in this country?
We don't have
Even in the most advanced states in this country, you would find the person who is supposed to say, okay, let's put this boy in an all boys. Say, how did you not even end up like this? This story is so pathetic. And they themselves will say it's a helpless situation. Yeah. But the woman will now be forced to keep the boy at home. And every time somebody cleans the diaper or cleans up her girls, she's told that kind of story. There must be a place where this kind of helpless situation, where the mother thinks, let me just hide my head. She must be able to deal with it. Because remember I was saying when we talked about the alleged case of family that that woman was a courageous woman. You don't find women coming out. The wife.
Yeah.
You don't find women coming out.
I had the opportunity to speak to his wife, Femi Lale's wife, Remy. She called me and we spoke, and she's willing to have a conversation with us. But the thing is, these are still allegations, and we're hoping that the courts would, the police will do the needful. But she said something that struck me. She said that one of the reasons when we ask her why did she come out, she said this is a girl that calls us mommy and daddy.
Oh my God.
She calls you dad. She calls you mom. And she felt that sense of responsibility to that child, like, hey, this is a child. So that sense of responsibility now, for a mother, going to the story you just shared, a mother is responsible for a 15-year-old boy and those little 2 girls. She already feels like, I am not doing what I'm supposed to do. There's something I've done. I failed. Hey. So that conviction already is affecting her. So she already has emotional issues.
Yes.
How is she going to help a 15-year-old child? So there's a lot of issues. Like other countries, there are systems to support this kind of thing. Here,
we don't have them
his family, you just call and just bomole.
I don't think it is because we don't have them here. I just think it is something innate in us. Because, let me tell you why. I must have shared this story about this boy who left Nigeria. His parents took him to Nigeria. He decided to America. And he was staying with family.
Yeah.
And he was abusing the boy, the 5-year-old boy. It was one day when the mother wanted to bath her son.
Yeah.
And he says, no, she wanted him to bath her son. And the mother said, no, I don't want him to bath me. He's doing things to me. And the mother was like, what? Oh yeah, come and take they called family meeting. The parents here say, it's a lie, it's not their son. Anyway, they now shipped him off to another house.
Where he went to.
And it's likely he's going to do the same thing.
He's going to do the same thing. They did family cover up. So it is a Nigerian thing.
Shame and
because
stigma.
you are in that situation. You are in America, where you can report
And get him help for him.
because people like that, they need help. They are not well.
Yeah.
This particular woman who is not answering her daughter, I mean, what is going through her brain that she's refusing to
See her daughter's pain.
Yes. What is going through her pain? You remember there was a lady that came on the show who was being raped by her father or her stepfather.
Yes.
I can't forget her.
Yes.
A young
Because
girl.
I had to cry that
One
day.
woman, yes. We had one woman.
She came on our show. I think we were sitting in
She's located somewhere abroad.
She's married to an Oyinbo now. And her mother, she was constantly raped by her, I think it was her stepfather.
Stepdad.
Yeah.
And the mother covered up.
And her mother covered it up.
So you're asking what is going through her brain.
Yes.
Let's go on
that
a
is-
break.
okay.
We'll answer that question when we come
back.
from break. Stay with us. We'll be right back. If you ask me, now who I go ask? The problem where we see, so you say where it start. That's exactly what we're talking about because we got Omaomi in the building. Yeah. I said, now your matter, we did talk about this morning. That song is so apt
At this time.
for the topic we're discussing because we talk about rape, and I say Princess also, Damilola always talks about this issue of raping minors. But in addition to that conversation that Damilola talks about all the time, is the fact that when family is involved, your mother is aware, your auntie is aware, your father might even be aware, and everybody else keeps mum because they are trying to avoid shame.
Yes.
Uphold the family name. And that's where we cover. Should we begin to review what does this family name mean? How do we weigh family name and somebody's sanity or somebody's well-being? That's the conversation.
Yeah.
I honestly don't. I'm really confused as at how to contribute to this conversation because, you know, when I sang that song, I witnessed something close to it, and it was irritating. You know, when something they bite
Pain you,
inside
of
body,
course.
you know, and then I couldn't even just fathom it. But over the years, I've come to, in very close quarters, I've come to see it happen again. And I don't even know how to, like, because I'd be like, so you know if you do anything. Betamo could just keep the conversation. There was a young girl that I saw online that said that her father was raping her. And everybody was talking about seeking help for her. And her father, till next year, has not been apprehended. The girl said, made them leave her papa. But she's gone for therapy.
He needs the help. Many people forget that the perpetrator really usually needs the help because he also has a background. Something must have happened to him.
Apprehension na help. You know,
I don't know whether something happened to him or he has mental problem.
All of them.
Because a lot have mental problem.
Yes.
Nothing might have happened to him. He just has, you know, their focus is on their siblings or their children or young children. So it's a mental problem.
It is.
Yeah, but people tell you about psychology. I mean, this
Yeah.
all this people
So
tell you that
everything
they're a
has
product of your
yes, everything
experiences.
has a root cause. You know, when we see situations happen like this, we normally pick it from the surface. But when you dig deep, like if the person goes into therapy and they start digging deep, you find that that person has gotten a history of he could have been involved directly, indirectly, he could have been an observer. You know, some of these things have a way of affecting the mind, and then it forms you into the human being that you become. And so both the perpetrator and the victims need a form of help. But let's talk about the judgment in the society that makes people want to hush this kind of thing. We are so judgmental. We have our own laws and we judge people by the laws that we ourselves have not even, you know, fulfilled our laws. We are failing ourselves on a daily basis. But when somebody fails just a little close to what you believe is your own ideal, this is how society should be, you will condemn, you will judge. And so people want to protect themselves. Because by the time the judgment is coming to what is already going on, it becomes very bad. Back in the days, when this kind of thing happens in a society, they will isolate you.
Yes.
Once your society, your family says, say what happened for our house. Hey, no near Amo, no go there, no go their house, no talk to Amo. Nobody wants to live in an isolated society. So you hush it. So we need to start telling ourselves the truth. Do we, like you mentioned, do we protect this family name against our well-being? Or do we throw away this shame.
You know what
You
I-
have a problem, come out, shout it. Even
Yeah.
if they are insulting you, that is not your focus because you are putting the person, hold on, you're putting the victim in focus and not you. So what our parents do that they hide all of this is because they are protecting themselves so that people will not say, I have failed.
Yeah.
I'm a bad mother.
But you see, the thing I'm thankful for, you see, the fact that the world is becoming a shameless society. You know, some of us were like, what's going on? Are you people devoid of shame? Because these days, people don't have shame.
Yes,
Shame,
it's better.
A
It's
lot
not
of, but
better.
so, you know, some of that, there are things that we judge, but I'm also thankful for things like this because online now, you see people speak up.
Yeah.
They'll be like, oh, I'm a victim of rape, or this thing happened to me, or my uncle did that to me, and I'm thankful for the fact that the world is becoming a shameless society, even if you know, some of it is slut shaming and excessive and all that paparazzi. That last time I saw somebody was dancing on TikTok while two people were doing whatever they were doing at the background.
I saw that video.
You saw it at
I didn't see it.
kidney you.
That kind of thing.
Look,
My eyes don't look for that kind of thing.
I know they see him.
I don't even know how I want to make
market, I
children
don't
they
like.
go.
I never deal with
If
Instagram
transfer from TikTok enter Instagram, I
never deal with
So
phone finish.
we're complaining. I'm looking at that and I'm like, the world is becoming a less shameful, judgmental society. But I'm also thankful for things like this, so that people will be able to speak up. Victims should be able to speak up. And I want to use this opportunity. Where the camera? Make I know which one I say. I take up beg now. Oh, now they talk. Shame don't die since. For
Don't
crisis we
die.
don't pass.
I wanted to talk about, how a mother deals with things like this.
Yeah.
Come on, shame. And be a mother. This is how I know, because I am Edo. This is how I know they are mothers. My mom would, you do offense for inside room. My neighbors from Southwest would deal with their children inside. My mother would just sit outside and be shouting. Call her friends. Yeah, me. You see this girl? Ashawo she wants to. Mommy Stella, you see this pikin?
I grew
You
up
want to
like that.
Ashawo? The problem is put outside. These women have a meeting on your head. I grew up like that. I know these three mothers mothered me.
God bless.
So you grew up, say you're shamed already. You are the topic. You know you're as
Every
a child.
day.
And my mother still loved me. That's what I know. So if your son, for instance, is abusing your child, put the son outside. And you're still his mother. You still they say house. But put this matter outside. Call him what it is. Those days when you still, they don't go talk
hush,
outside.
hush anything.
Now
Yeah.
they bring you out.
There was this woman we used to call her Worry Mama. She would say, I beg go, you better make a nobody than make a born thief. It was normal conversation. So the shame is first of all put aside.
Yeah.
If you put that shame, that girl will never be a whole human being. If you say, let people not call our family, that child, you're making one child a sacrifice for the others. You're making one child a whipping child for the others. You see the shame, put it aside. Call it exactly what it is. The AO is raping his sister B.O. And although this thing I've seen in my house, they will shout it, they say, I'm running Agwegwe. They will raise their hands, they will scream it out. The shame is taken out, then they deal with the problem. And the children are still their own.
So could it be what has happened? Because before, Africa used to be a communal
Yes.
society.
Yes,
But
right.
now, we have built these walls, physical and spiritual walls.
Fancy.
Fences.
Yes.
So nobody knows what the other family is doing.
doing.
So automatically, we have now fenced in our emotions because of what is happening in the society. Because I remember there was this young child, she was I think about 4 or 5. She used to go to school with her brother, and the mother's brother took them to school. And the mother's brother would stop the car, rape the girl.
Hey!
Mother's brother.
Mother's brother
Uncle.
would stop the car, rape the girl, then drop them at school.
And the brother would not say a thing.
The brother went to go and tell the teachers. Maybe he tried to tell the mother she didn't. The teachers called her. She removed her 2 children from the school.
So,
For them,
You see, that's what you...
But there are many. And so this
that's
is
what
shame.
we
We
say.
should define shame and define mother. If you
She's
born
a
thief,
bad mother.
when that child goes through, God forbid, the child goes through trial and is convicted of whatever kind of stealing, armed robbery, whatever, raping, you are still the mother of that child. You will show up and mother, I love you, but the consequence of life is this.
Yes.
Of your actions. And over time, you
there's a
understand
message
it.
that came to me right now. Hi, Muriel. I watched my this is sometimes so difficult to read.
To pronounce.
I watched my uncle rape my sister. And and I have seen it all through her life. Today, she's not the same person I knew growing up. I couldn't talk to anybody. I tried to, I confronted my uncle about it, but he forced me to keep quiet. Until today, I regret it all. So he, as a young boy, obviously
He's
saw.
also traumatized.
He's also traumatized, though, and I hope
So
he's
he
not
saw it happen.
Call
translating
himself coward.
into his
You go dey
own
run
Let's go on a
life.
break because I want us to go into the
Going hard.
solution because we can say many stories.
Yes.
How do we solve the problem? As I
that
said,
solution.
rape issue on its own is a separate matter where either we involve the police,
Yeah.
we involve Marable Sense and all these other things.
Yes.
We're talking about family. How complicit family is in this issue of rape. That's our conversation. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Thanks for staying with us. We're still discussing the family's involvement and what role they play in hiding, in shielding these victims from the public or getting help in the first place. And I really want us to find a solution.
Not the victims, the perpetrators.
The perpetrators, yes.
That they
How do we
shield.
help these women or these fathers to help themselves? What's the first step? Because we know what they've done. But there's a woman right now, and let's bring back the story that Nima gave us. There's a woman, her son, 15-year-old son, is raping her two young daughters.
Hey!
She's traumatized as a person. All she knows is, let's keep it. Let's find a way to hush it.
You can't
Do you
keep it.
tell her? If she's your sister, what would you tell her?
I will tell her to stop it. She has to report. She has to get help for the boy.
then she might lose her son.
Definitely get
She will
help.
lose him.
She won't lose
She
him.
has already lost him.
No, she won't see.
Nima, if that is the case, she has already lost him because he's doing something that is totally unacceptable.
But he's 15, he's underage.
No.
Can't you help a child that's 15
No,
years old?
see, the thing about it is that the first thing that they should separate that child from those
children.
girls.
Yeah.
They must be separated. And you see, me, I'm a firm believer in tit for tat. Say if they take that boy to juvenile this thing now, and then somebody does to him.
He will come out
Perhaps.
worse.
No, I think he was also
there.
abused.
He will come out worse.
Her case is peculiar because she believes that her protection is in a marriage. She doesn't think that she can raise the children by herself.
Alone.
So her first marriage, the boy is the product of her first marriage. And her remarriage, 2 girls, 6 and 4. And so she thinks, let me just,
is my-
I will be divorced again.
No.
See, now the solution is the way I said it. If you call a thing what it is, it doesn't mean you love less. Now people burn the people when they're prisoner. Do you think it's easy?
Yes.
It's not easy. But if you call that child what it is, if, for instance, he had to pay the consequence for it in a juvenile court, and then he comes out, the girls are already grown, you put together the mechanism, you can still help him and say, you have paid the consequence. Now, the psychological whatever, what they call therapy, that you need. And you're still being a mother, even in a difficult... It's like having a child with a special need. Now, condition be everybody. Everybody, you face it, and you call it what it is. If your neighbors come out and say, it's your son, he's raping your daughter. See, this is my trial. Now, my trial be this. So everybody is also helping you watch those children.
Yes.
But when we say, don't call it what it is, I beg, he's playing with his sisters. He's playing with them.
God forbid.
You're creating a problem. That's how we got here.
Yes.
This step we are now. Nobody they call what it is.
Okay, so let me say that you cannot effectively raise your children and always put their needs before you when you don't even understand what those needs are and when you don't know who you are as a person. So if you have a whole human being who understands what self-love is, and the person is raising children who understands the well-being of those children, if any of these things happen, the person will put the interest of the children first before her own.
Yes.
We need to start dealing with that. I wish there's a school you can go to for parenting before we start. This is a conversation Nigerians are not ready. No, it's a conversation that Nigerians are not ready to have. A lot of people get into marriage. Hold on now.
Sorry,
Hold
never
on.
mind,
A lot of people get into marriage and childbearing when they have not finished raising themselves.
No, that we agree with you.
They have issues with themselves. So when this kind of thing now happens, they don't even know their left from their right. That's on one hand. Secondly, we need collective empathy as a society to encourage people to bring out their problems. So when somebody comes to say, see what my child is doing, don't sit on your high horse in the seat of judgment. Hey, I talk am now. I talk and say the kind of life where she lives, she don't feel be good parents and start judging that person and start spreading those lies. You need to understand from a place of love. What can we do to help this situation? I know this person. I feel call this person. Let's go and meet this person. You need to put yourself, because it can happen to anybody. See, parenting is by the grace of God.
Almighty.
Tomorrow, we don't even know where our children will go to and what they will do. Most of the things we did in the university, our parents did not know till today. It was God that saved us, that we came out of it before they knew. Imagine if I was in school in this generation. Now, forget it. But I'm just saying, see. So we need to, we need to come from a place of, hold on, let me just land this point. A place of collective love and empathy. Very important. So that when those cases come up, all of, Nimao, Morayo, what are we doing to help this situation? We can help it. Then other people will now have the courage to say, see what's in the happen for my house. So I can talk to somebody.
I wanted to just say, I want all of us to dig deep inside ourselves.
Yes.
And then think of our own children. And then ask ourselves the same question.
Whether we'll be
what
able to
would we
do?
It's until we can answer that question truthfully. Morayo, think you have 4 kids.
Right, you're very correct. Because when a mother sees, just like Nima said, the circumstance in which you had that first child, when you divorce the father, maybe there are issues going on. You're now thinking to yourself,
how do I
want to? So there's a lot of factors. So that's why I don't want us judging a woman.
No, we're not judging.
But
That's what I'm saying.
Let's think deep. You never
inside
know.
ourselves.
it's
and think, as I love my children or my child and then something like that happens, what would I do? When you can answer that question truthfully,
Sincerely, yeah.
And
sincerely, then that's the beginning of
Helping others.
The healing.
helping others.
Healing.
Because until you can answer that question,
You don't know.
You don't know how
You
far
can
you
never. I'm telling you.
would I hide it?
What?
Would I? If you can't tell yourself the truth,
Well, I
You
think
cannot shame the
now,
shameless.
okay.
You cannot.
Me not
shame
get
the
shamed.
shameless.
The way they raised me, all my linens were washed publicly. That's why when my mother raised her girls. And I don't see it different.
Okay, but can we provide a solution where even if it's not public, do you understand? Because
Find
sometimes
solution.
even publicizing something doesn't necessarily mean
fix it.
It doesn't necessarily remedy it.
Yeah.
Really and truly, what would you tell a woman like this? Like I'm also putting the question out there. What would you tell a woman like this? Are there centers where people can reach out and say, okay, this is it? Are there therapists that can say, okay, pocket friendly therapists that can say, okay, can I help? We need to, so maybe in another conversation, we can put this thing out so that even people who are watching us, who are really in that position, can say, oh, because you want to make a shot for a neighbor goes, shameful society.
Let's go on a break.
judgmental society.
Let's go on a break. When we come back, we'll take a few phone calls and get some thoughts. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Thanks for staying with us. We're going to take a few tweets. YK, how many tweets you have for us? So that we can
Tweets are
take
not dropping,
a few
actually,
comments on
on
this
this.
matter.
I
We're going to
don't
be
know
wrapping
why.
up very soon, but I want to take a few comments.
Tweets
We
are
have
not
another
really
hot
dropping.
topic I want us to discuss. Go ahead, YK.
Hey.
Okay, Oluwatomi says, if society would not stigmatize victims and family of the victims, I believe a lot of family of victims or even the victims themselves will speak up. That's why we have such matters being discussed freely on faceless forums because the identity of the victims are protected. Andrew says, the case is that, talking to Mo, is that does Nigeria have laws and punishment on juvenile crime?
So somebody says Nima should remember that the neighbors of those days are not the same neighbors of these days. Those days, neighbors were genuinely parents who saw every child as theirs and how it was a collective effort. Do we still have such neighbors? I don't
But they
think
shame
so.
you too. These women I called their name, the two of them, I hope they are watching because I know one is in London. They would shame you. They will come out here, you this girl, you want to... One of these mothers, I remember when I tried mini skate, I had very nice legs.
Well,
So
I think I
and I came
that
out.
person.
the leg.
And I wore a very short skirt. But because of my values, I thought, let me just put my underwear small to cover the slit. The skirt should be short, you can't get slit. So she waited. My mom had already come downstairs to give her information that Nima is going to school, but he wait for the dressing. So she waited for me. I said, come on. She said, Nimni, fine gay. You won't show your legs. Front it. She brought out scissors, cut my underwear, draw them off,
Nine.
slice them.
Oh, God bless
Won't do
her.
a shower, face the walk.
Yes,
That was
with
the
your
last
chest.
day I wore a miniskirt.
Chichi unscripted.
Hey,
Never
let me take
shame
this
you.
call. Let me take
Never
this
shame
call. Well, you don't have this kind of mothers. You can't do that. How would you know
That's what
someone else's
Mariah
child?
is saying, that
We don't have this
today,
kind of mothers
We
anymore.
have people who are judgmental.
Yes.
They will tell you,
I call this
listen,
judging.
Don't touch my child.
No, they will tell you, oh, behind your back, they will say, see that Nima.
We don't Nigeria here. Let me take Bidemi's call. Good morning, Bidemi. Are you there?
Let's be honest.
Hello, good morning, Mariah.
You're live. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, I'm a first-time caller.
Welcome to the show. If I can get the volume up, I really appreciate it.
I want to appreciate you girls for what you are doing. You're doing very well. God will continue to bless you. Quickly on the topic we are discussing, I want to say even the authorities are culpable. I have the first-time information of my niece. Her father was a military man. He was late though. She had the passion to become a military person. She just finished secondary school and decided that she must go to NDA. She went through everything she had to go to NDA. 3 days into resuming into NDA, this girl they attempted to rape her, one of the cadets. She struggled with the guy because she's also very physically strong. She struggled and struggled and struggled. She was able to escape him. And my sister was coming back to Lagos, so she just decided to go and check on the girl before going. And she discovered the girl was in the sick bay. What's wrong with you? The girl said, I'm no more doing. And she was like, why would you just withdraw from something that you have been working towards? And the mother was insisting that you will cope. It's just a normal thing. You are feeling homesick and all of that. And the girl confessed to her mother that she almost got raped yesterday. But she couldn't tell anybody.
Yeah.
The mother shouted and they said, okay, they will investigate. They isolated her. And before we knew it, this same boy came back again where she was isolated and succeeded in raping this girl.
Oh, God.
She was just 17. She was the youngest. You know the way people cut their ages just to get into these places. She was about the youngest girl in that place. And eventually she shouted about the whole thing. And what happened? The ladies in the NDA, they started victimizing Toto.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I mean, that's a really pathetic story. So, when you are faced with this kind of situation, when you tell your parents and they are not able to help you out, that's my own worry.
Yeah. So when it's an outsider that is doing something and then your parents are, shouting and making noise, you have a form of, there's this glitter of hope that something might be done. Even after the end of the day, the police will come for the matter and they will say, oh, yeah, make una settle out of. People will take this matter to court and they'll say, can you just settle this thing? Let's not make noise within the family. But when it's happening within, that's where the problem is. Because you expect a level of, this cannot happen under my nose. What is going wrong here? What sort of solutions are we going to? If it's happening within, is a brother sleeping with a sister. It's happening within. It's not an external influence now. It's not within the family.
That's
so
the issue.
how do we solve the problem within the family? Do
So
we kill it? Do we kill it within the family?
It's not possible.
Because we don't want... I think we should throw away shame. I think when you become a parent, no, I think we need to start revising some of these things. When you become a parent, swallow the shame. Even if they say I'm a bad mother, I don't care. Why are we always bothered about how people want to see us? We're so focused on perception. I want to look a certain way. I want to act a certain way so that people will perceive me a certain way. As a parent, throw it away.
Nobody cares
Let them
about...
perceive you anyhow they want to perceive you. As long as you know that you will stand for the right things and you ensure the well-being of your children. That is what a parent should be looking at.
So, I mean, I think we find a way to solve this problem because I want to take a few more comments on social media before you go for. Have anyone want to say something?
No, bottom line is I'm just echoing what everybody's saying. And I feel very helpless. That's honestly, I feel very helpless and I feel like I'm in a state of despair when I hear things like this and I can't do anything about it. I feel like, seriously, after this conversation, we should really and truly, of course, we have all these centers where they have them. We should continue to mention it so that these people, because really nobody can actually come out and really speak out because of how judgmental the society. Let's call it what it is.
Okay.
Let's prefer solutions to...
Let me take Adomi, then we're going to wrap up now. Adomi, are you there from Abuja? is out. Let's take a few more comments. And
Yes. Also, quickly, there's a rule in my faith. When you're raising children, no matter how much you love them, when they have separate sexes, separate them once they get to a certain age, especially puberty.
Yeah.
And
Sleep in different rooms and all
in
that.
case there's just this yearning to explore and adventure, be adventurous, before the mistake happens, protect, separate, bathing separate and all of that. My dad used to knock on our room door. I remember it growing up. So if you come into me, I will scream at you because you are not the person I
Because you have at
respect.
least 2 rooms
Exactly.
now,
If you are living in face me and face
If
you,
you
only
did
one
the
room,
face me and
how
face you to
will
be a
you
mother.
separate them?
See, some mistakes that we make is that if you are going to
open my
shop
phone, I see.
and you know that the victim was raping one child, that child that your assistant on, he's there with you.
247.
There are ways we can do all of these things. So.
Okay, I have a call from Zaria. Good morning, are you there?
Good morning, ma.
You're live. Go ahead, please.
Yes, ma. I experienced something like this when I was young. I am my sister.
My God.
So I reported to my father, and he didn't take it lightly. That was my cousin that did that to us. He was an orphan, and my father brought him in so that he can take care of him, his education and everything. But every night he keeps attempting to rape me and my sister. So we have to tell our father, and he didn't take it lightly. I'm telling you this till today, since 2003. He left our house and we haven't seen him again.
Whoa.
Please, what did your father do?
Like, he punished him, he flogged him, and everyone, our neighbors, or everybody knew what he did.
Better.
So your father punished him.
Better. No, he put it out there.
Okay.
Put it out there.
So how have you been able to recover from that experience?
Yes, I've recovered from that, but that made me to be suspicious when I see anytime children are behaving funny. I used to put serious eyes on them, and sometimes I used to see what they do and I'll talk to them.
Thank you very much, Becky, for sharing your story with us. I think, you're getting very emotional. Wow,
I'm helpless. I hate it. I can't, as in, maybe I will become a vigilante and be shooting these people.
So let's take a few more comments and we wrap up.
Oluwatos Tomisin says, if society will not stigmatize the victims and the family of the victims, I believe a lot of families of the victims or even the victims will speak up. That's why we have such matters being discussed freely on faceless forums, because the identity of the victims are protected. She also says, or he also says, the victims try to get the advice of the public, both the solutions and the criticism, but sieve the criticism and try to work with the solutions. Many people don't want to be segregated from society, so they just try to simply live with the stigma. And he has said it all.
Yes.
Society will victimize and stigmatize. So that's why I say, before we comment, let's all...
Inside the
Okay,
yeah.
Let me take this call from Benjamin. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
You're live. Go ahead, please.
I think I want to align my thoughts with the lady in hijab. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead.
I want to align my thoughts. In as much as there is poverty in the land and parents will not be able to secure better accommodation to separate the boys and the girls from certain rooms, the mothers or the parents have a lot to do. A lot of monitoring must be done to ensure that this nonsense does not happen. And for the child who commits that, I think that child should be isolated and monitored thoroughly so that that thing does not happen in society. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
There's a tweet. This tweet is very apt. Adebayo says, our society is highly polluted. The issue of the increase in rape is as a result of immorality around us.
Yes.
The entertainment industry contributes more to it. Dirty words in music, naked dancers, indirect blue film movies. All these are giving bad impression to people. And I want to add drugs.
Young people.
Add drugs, joy.
Okay.
Yeah, let me just quickly add that every parent is your responsibility to observe. You must observe your children. sometimes, like I used to be a class
Observe and
teacher.
know your
Yes,
children.
I used to be a class teacher, and sometimes some of these kids come to school with very funny behavior. You can just tell that something is going wrong. They are sneaking to the bathroom, they are hiding under the table, touching, you know, that sort of thing. But it's from observation, and when that observation happens and somebody notices something about your child and comes to you to say, this is what I've noticed, don't say, God forbid, it cannot be my child. The child I've been raising since, and dismiss it and ignore it, feeling that enemies are after you again. It's your job to take in that information, go home and do your own observation so that you can pick some of these things. Like, naturally, children have tendencies when they are growing up, especially when their body begins to change, and they want to try out some things. They may not have been abused. But when you observe, you can now open a conversation line with them and help redirect that energy to the right place. Instead of feeling that, my children, it can never be my children. They can never do it. They don't watch, you don't know what they listen to in school. They don't watch at home, they listen in school. They gist in school, they talk in school.
Because there are people that are obviously watching. If I may add, parents, teach your children sex education.
Very important.
Tell them from the moment they are able to communicate, they are able to understand. You tell them about the female reproductive organ. I don't know whether I'm allowed to say it on TV.
English language.
It's
NBC.
we get it, we get it.
do you understand? I call it what it is. I call it. So when you call there's no fun name for it. No fun name. No nice name. I call it what it is. Tell them this is how a child conceives. This is what you do. You know, my daughter asked me. She said, because I told her at 7, that's when I told her about everything. So she now said, so why can't, you know, what? So if this is what it is, why can't we do it? Why can't a child? I said,
Valid question.
I now said, you see, everything, something has to mature before you happen into that, venture into that area. I said, can you eat an unripe mango?
Mbano.
Can you eat an unripe banana? I said, so your body is still developing. Outside of that, your mind is also developing. So even if you are developing here, so when everywhere is developed, you can now venture.
Okay, I think I like that. So we just start from that now.
I want to use that.
Everything has to develop.
Okay, can you eat an unripe mango?
You cannot.